What type of figure of speech is used in line 19 and 21? I remember my tongue shedding its skin like a snake, my voice in the classroom sounding just like the rest. Why does she compare her tongue changing, her accent or her language or her word choices to a snake shedding its skin?
Because it's like a transformation.
She was transforming there, right, and that's where she becomes content and sort of resigned with this place. Example of alliteration, absence, and consonants. This one had a lot too. Anyone find an example of alliteration?
Shedding its skin like a snake.
Yes, shedding its skin like a snake. That whole stanza has a lot of S, like swallow, slug, scalp, shame, skin, snake, etc. So that one has a lot of S, which is kind of, significant because what sort of noise does a snake make? Exactly, so you have that sort of reference there as well. What about assonance?
Loose tooth.
Loose tooth, good. And you have in line 8, eyes and blind. That's a good example because it's sound, remember, not visual. Like when you're looking for these, make sure the sound matches up, not just the letter, because that doesn't create assonance. And consonants. In line 18, you have a lot of it at the end of the line with swallow, slug, feel, and only. All 4 of those words have the L sound, so that would be a strong example of consonants. And then the tone in the third stanza, we kind of went over that. There's a tone of resignation, of contentment, where she is now, as opposed to kind of the bewilderment in the first and second stanzas. How many people like the digging poem better? No? The original one better? It's a very normal, I guess, poem for her. Her poetry tends to be a little bit more, I guess, feminist driven. I don't know how else to say it. If you read anything else by her. She has this collection of poems. It's called The World's Wife, and there's actually one of them in the packet I'm giving you now. And she writes all of these poems from perspectives of women that have been, in her opinion, neglected, like culturally, historically, in literature, etc. We do a couple of them. We look at gender criticism, but she has one called Frau Freud, and it's like Frau Freud's perspective of a lot of Freud's different theories, and it's really funny. Okay, so the first one represents a more traditional sonnet, My Mistress's Eyes, in format, but you'll see when reading through it, it isn't typical of Shakespearean, like absolute love, adoration, etc. It is, but in a very different portrayal. The second poem is a more non-traditional sonnet, but I like to use it with the first one because Anne Hathaway was Shakespeare's wife, and the poem is about what he left her when he died. So I'm going to read through both of them, and then you have 2 sets of questions. If you'd like to remove the page with the questions, it might be easier to set it next to the poems while you answer the questions. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time I'm going to read them, then we're going to give you a little bit of time to answer the questions, and then we're going to go over the format for writing a sonnet, and you'll have some time to play with that today. It's fun. Like, people think it's not going to be, but it is. Okay. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips are red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hair be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks, and in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress breathes. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any sheep alive with false compare. And the line with ground, that's supposed to be on the previous line, so that's not a separate line, just FYI. And then Anne Hathaway. Item I give into my wife, my second best bed. So to somebody not privy to the details of their relationship and their marriage, if you heard that someone passed away and left their wife only the second best bed, what would you think about his feelings towards her? Did he love her a whole bunch if all he gave her was his second best bed? No, so this poem is kind of a justification for why he left her that. The bed we loved in was a spinning world of forest castles, torch-like cliff-top seas where we would die for pearls. My lover's words were shooting stars which fell to earth as kisses on these lips. My body now a softer rhyme to his, now echo assonance, his touch a verb dancing in the center of a noun. Some nights I dreamed he'd written me, the bed a page beneath his writer's hands. Romance and drama played by touch, by scent, by taste. In the other bed, the best, our guests get dozed on, dribbling their prose. My living, laughing love, I hold him in the casket of my widow's head as he held me upon that next best bed. So let's take a couple minutes, answer the questions. If you wanna have the terms out, just for clarification of anything, that's fine. And then I'm gonna put some notes up on the board, pertaining to signing my position too.